Now, I'm in RAW mode because I always shoot in RAW. I've got a full frame lens on here. It's the 24 to 105. And it would pay to, if you can, keep an eye on, every time we come back to the camera, keep an eye on how much you can see around my foot. I've seen a few people say when they've put the A7Riii into JPEG mode that they're not getting 42 megapixel images. Doesn't matter in RAW because you get the entire data, but the reason is not because they're in RAW or not in RAW, or not because they're in JPEG, because that's irrelevant. But I'll put this back into JPEG, and it's, see, I'm using a full frame lens, got 42 megapixel. It is all because of the aps-c Super 35mm part. Now the default on this camera is it automatically selects aps-c if you put an aps-c lens on. And if you put a 35mm lens on, doesn't do it. So if you're not getting 42 megapixel JPEGs large, it's because your camera has gone into aps-c Super 35mm and it's cropping the hell out of them. Now that could be for two reasons. One, you've put an aps-c lens on. Two, you've put a 35mm lens on and gone into here, switched that to manual, gone down here, switched that to on. So now, if you look up here, my JPEGs are now 18 megapixel at the largest. That's because I deliberately turned that on. And you also see, we see less surrounding my foot. Don't get too excited about my foot. So, if this is what you're getting, the solution is put a full frame lens on your camera. If this bit here is set to auto, if it's not and it's set to manual, or you have got a 35mm lens on there, it's possible that you've got this turned on and just turn it off. I would say for most people it's because this is on auto and they've put a aps-c lens or crop sensor lens on their camera, because Sony make E-mount full frame lenses and E-mount aps-c lenses. And I honestly, without doing some research, can't remember the designation for those lenses because I never bought one. So yeah, I sometimes, and this can be handy, sometimes turn this aps-c mode on if I'm going to be cropping a huge amount out of most of my images, and I'm on my full zoom. Then I will turn this on just to pre-crop them when I bring them in. But as I said before, I normally shoot in RAW, so it only really becomes relevant for me when I shoot in RAW and JPEG, which I've done occasionally for club competitions where we got a hand in a JPEG image, etc, etc, etc. And I want to do my own edit of that image later on, so I'll always have RAW as well. But yeah, so that's about it.